Well, it all started with a midlife crisis when I was at the age of 40. So at that time, I was beginning to ask a lot of questions, ask myself, why am I doing what I'm doing? I begin to feel that I may be at midpoint of my life, or even less than halfway left, So through that midlife crisis, I struggle. And as a Christian, of course, I ask God, what do you want me to do with the rest of my life? And to cut a long story short, eventually, the conclusion is that I sense a calling from God. And this calling is a bit different from most Christians' calling, in the sense that most Christians felt called to be maybe a pastor or a missionary or full-time worker. Surprisingly, mine is called into the marketplace. As a civil engineer, I'm in the construction industry. So I felt that God wanted me to start my own business, of all things. And I do not have any background in business. I work for people. I'm a professional civil engineer. So not only he wanted me to start the business in the Christian language, to glorify Him, to glorify God in and through business. How can I do that? So I concluded that he wanted me to be the light of the world, salt of the earth. And I know that the construction industry is very dark, a lot of corruption. So I felt that he wanted me to conduct my business with integrity, so that it become a light to shine in the marketplace. So you ask me what influenced me, I cannot specifically nail down to a particular person. But I can say is that I use a strong language. I hated corruption, bribery. And the reason why I have strong feeling against corruption is that I knew that, as everybody knows, that corruption is a cancer of the society. It actually robbed the poor, and the money go into the people with well-connected, and usually quite often are politicians, to the pockets of those decision makers, well-connected people. Money that is meant for building hospital, schools, roads, end up a large percent of it, taxpayers' money, gone into the private pocket of individual decision makers. So it's actually robbing from the ordinary citizens, the taxpayer, into the pockets of those who are just well connected and benefit a lot. So that is, to me, is unfair, injustice, And besides that, it also, again, related to unfairness. For example, as a civil engineer in the construction industry, I tender for jobs, and I may be the most competitive pricing, and I have good track record. I comply with every code of practice or whatever. I can end up losing the project to somebody less competent, less qualified, and even higher price, because that guy paid the bribe. So again, it is an unlevel playing field. Usually you read about unlevel playing field, distort market forces. Basically, it's talk about unfairness. So that's what corruption does. It distorts the market forces. And last of it, which is also equally serious, is that it actually dehumanizes a person's character. That is my personal experience, which I still, up to today, I remember it, in the sense that one day my secretary received a phone call, and her face turned pale. And I asked what happened. She said that my dad just had a very serious accident and gone to hospital. So I said, okay, I bring her to the hospital. When we arrive at the hospital, the father has passed away already. So she was very upset and in grief, and she also a bit in daze, but she needed to claim the body so they can bring the body for burial. And I just follow her, and they give her the run around, from counter to counter, this department, that department in the hospital, until I got so angry. I said, what is this? This simple death certificate you need to get the body out. Why take such a long time? So in my anger, I barged into the room of the senior officer. And I said, why is it taking so long, this thing? He was taken aback. He was shocked. Okay. So he immediately signed the papers and got the death certificate. I thought that was some bureaucracy. I came home. I happened to meet my my father-in-law's brother, who is working in the police force. He said, why are you so stupid? Why don't you just pay the small money to this fellow? You get the thing already. I was even more upset. I said, wow, this guy, so cruel, This girl is in distress, suffering, in grief, and you hold back what she's supposed to get, because that's part of your job, hoping to get some small money from this girl, So I see that a human character who have basic compassion lost it just because he wanted some money. So it dehumanized a person. And I read about some other cases, like for example, in some developing countries, even the doctors deny a patient coming into hospital until he receives a bribe. That is how terrible it can be. So for me, because of that, maybe God see me as the right candidate to start a business and not to get involved in corrupt practices. And that so I responded to God's call, and I started a business without any background, no experience, and not much capital.